Hi everybody, and welcome to the feedback session for Construction Management 1. This is the first assignment. I thought I'd make a small recording for you guys so that you know how I went about the marking. Alright, just a little bit of feedback for everybody. There were, we have got 13 students in the class, but there were only 12 submissions. One of those were late, but with a valid extension of time request for that. The overall average for the class is about 15.7. which isn't too bad for a first assignment. The highest is 20, which is a little bit lower than what I would have expected, but it's still fine. It counted 25, so it should be okay. We should be able to pick it up later on during the term. And of course then the lowest mark there was 8, which was sort of at the bottom, but you still can come back in the later assignments and bounce back. There's lots and lots of opportunities to fix this one still. So yeah, just get on to it. Alright. So assignment number 1 was due on the 22nd of November. Basically there were 4 questions. The first question, very basic, is write the sales pitch for project management. And many of you got that one really well, and some of you guys missed it a little bit. What I wanted you to do is sell yourself, sell project management, and give me the stats that can make it work. We'll look at one of those just now. Construction in Australia, the different tiers that we had or have. So basically the 3 tiers, the companies that represent them, the types of business that they do, and also the types of organizational structures that they follow, or legal entities that they, trusts or sole traders or anything like that. Question 3 dealt with the contracting strategies. Easy stuff, not too difficult, no real wrong answers. There are just more right answers and there are more wrong answers. Alright, so easy stuff as well. And then question number 4 dealt with the project qualification and criteria. Not a really difficult question. You could have really scored well there. Most of you guys did, so well done on that one. Alright, so let's just look at the place where you are not really allowed to lose marks. And if you did lose marks here, it's just your own fault. These marks are free and they come free in each of the assignments. So the cover page, page numbers, general presentations, don't slip up with things like that. Because those marks are free, I tend to look at them quite seriously when you do slip up. So if there's a spelling mistake or grammar, something like that, I'll pick it up and I'll just take 1 or 2 marks off. There's only 1 or 2 available, but at the end of the day they do add up. Borders and justification, make sure that when you do your submission that it's nice and professional. It's always, I like it nice and neat, square and everything. And then make sure that you've got the table of contents. Very important that you have a really nice table of contents in there. I mean, this is one of the last courses that you'll do. Well, maybe not, but you'll be doing table of contents for the rest of your life. So make sure that you know how to use the built-in functions in Word. All right, so it gives you free marks. And then the references. Many of you guys got all of the references. Some of you guys got some of the references. If you got between 7 and 9 out of 10 for the references, you did fairly well. If you got less than that, maybe look at that Harvard guide again. Alright, so if we look at the first question there, it's basically just a sales pitch, what I wanted from you for project management. And I guess this will be the last time that you'll look in project management history across the course, so that's why I wanted you guys to look at it. It's not really my favorite type of question. Reading the questions and reading the answers, I thought, was this a good question? And I'll see what comes out. So at the end of the day, I wanted you guys to think about what's the strategic competitive advantage that you can provide to your client. So I'll just give you an example. There's one that came out really good, and this is basically what I wanted. I'll just quickly scroll through it. There's a nice cover page. It's the sales document, and you can see there's the address that's really important. So we need to make sure that it's addressed to somebody. It's got a few pictures on there, cover letter, and somebody signed it, and we're quite happy with that. And then of course the sales pitch. Alright, so there's the little background to the company. Also a few photos, something that you'll see in the nice glossy things that these companies hand out. Really easy stuff with a nice fit to this one is, of course, there's the address and the details that you'll typically see at the bottom of a page of these glossy marketing segments. A little bit about the company history, all of that stuff, what you do, what you're about. There you can see I actually wrote nice. I thought it was quite a nice touch. And then a bit about your quality control, project management, all of that stuff goes in there. So most of you guys scored sort of in the middle there. Remember for the last assignment that's coming up later on this year that you cover those areas really well. It's 3 marks, all right? So you only have one opportunity to impress the judges at the last assignment. So make sure that when you submit that documentation that it is perfect. All right, so that's easy. All right, so that's the first question. Question number 2A, easy stuff. This one dealt with the 3 tiers. So there were 2 types of answers that are expected here, the 1, 2, 3 tiers that we have in Australia, and then also the pre-qualification tiers that we have in a state, for instance, like Queensland. All right, and very few of you guys picked up on that one. Just one student picked up on that one, which was interesting to see the different approaches that you guys took in the class. So what I wanted to do there is wanted you guys to think about who are the main players, where are they, what do they do, who's the guys that's around you in your state and your area, and of course what types of projects they take on. For question number 2B, once you've identified those tiers, did you put names to it? Did you give me examples? Really 3 marks over here again. And of course, you know, what is the main reason for these companies to be in business? Are they in infrastructure? Are they residential? Do they build hospitals? Do they build houses? Is it renovations? How much money do they move every year? And also important is how many employees more or less do they have? So what I've done is I've taken a little bit of information from some of the assessments. I can't remember whose this is, but thank you very much. This was a good little display. This is basically what I wanted to see, and you can see that it's nice and simple. It tells us this is more or less the values. It tells us more or less where the companies fit into things, the type of work that they do. So, you know, nice and simple, easy stuff. There's another one, and this one, this was way in the beginning when I just started marking. You can see I still added names to it. So there, thanks Anthony. Also a nice one, nice way of showing it. Major, small, medium, minor, and then of course over there give us the names of each of the companies that's basically in that block. Alright, so very simple, very easy. I like pictures and stuff, so you can remember that for future assessment items. A picture goes a long way, and of course a diagram like this really helps. So there's another one, and there we can see there's the main players that we have in the market, and this is basically just the tier 1 players. So obviously there'll be one for tier 2 and tier 3 as well. The tier 3 one gets a little bit disorganized because it's just all over the show. Everybody fits into that block. So if you gave me 1 and 2 and then talked about 3, I'm quite happy about that. So also another way, this one came from Chris Holding, and quite a number of you guys had similar models. Very nice. It shows me more or less the values, and you can see there that's it sort of lines up with what we saw previously on Anthony's slide as well. And then of course Chris added some graphs to the side there with risks and competitiveness. Interesting to see exactly how these things work together. Alright, so there's a little bit of a thinking for you guys. Alright, so question number 3C asked you guys to look at the different legal entities in Australia. So I was looking for 4 answers. Some of you guys came up with less, some of you came up with more. If you came up with something not normal, so cooperative agreements or anything like that, I would ask you, okay, give me an example, and you know, well done. If you didn't have all 3 of them, I would have marked you down. And then also if you can give me a little bit of information, the impacts on tax liability, insurance. Many of you guys noted the insurance, specifically when you start out as a sole trader, then move into a partnership. You know, what's the the bad things about each of these entities that we have, and of course then how it influences your decisions. So the complexity of the structure, the number of people that we're going to get in the company working for us, all of these things. If you covered that in your assessment there, you got some marks for that. Not a difficult question. Many of you guys went to the ATO website. Perfect. That's fine. Many of you guys went to Queensland Business or New South Wales Fair Trading. Also good. These are the types of information sources that I would expect you guys to use extensively. All right. So question number 3, identify the factors that influence. Okay, we've spoken about this one. Maybe that's just a double slide that I've got in there. All right, so question number 3.1. This is now the one where we start talking about the strategies, the execution strategies. And once again, not wrong answers, just more correct answers, or answers that's easier to execute. So the first one was about the airport, the bag handling system that we need to install there, and it's not an off-the-shelf item, so it needs to be designed. We typically need somebody in there that's got a lot of knowledge, somebody that's done it before. So anything along the lines of a EPC or a cost plus fixed fee type contract, or even a turnkey type contract, would work really well there. Alright, so you'll see there that you've got different marks for each of these, and typically what I did is for each of them I allowed, there's 5 of these scenarios that I gave you, so each of these scenarios counted 4 marks, and you'll see there's 3 questions, so there might be 3 numbers on your assessment, and that just gives you an idea of how I marked you for each of those questions. So there's the first one, the airport, easy stuff, nothing too difficult there. Second one, the EIA in the Kakadu National Park. Alright, so this one also, again, the key issue here is that environmental impact assessment studies are normally handled by professional services contracts, but in this case I changed the wording a little bit. So I said you are going to do some physical work, so therefore professional services contracts cannot work on their own, because they do not allocate risk to the contractor, and it's really difficult to protect the employer in such a case. So you have to either use another vehicle, so for instance an EPC or a lump sum or execution type contract or a firm fixed price type contract, or alternatively you could also use a professional services contract with a variation. Alright, so a Z clause, we like to call those Z clauses, changing the clauses from standard to suit our needs, just to address those risks. Again, same marking scheme, 3 questions, each counting 4, so look out for those numbers in your assessment, they are there. Question number 3, the key word here was for and on behalf, and the moment you saw that, it was sort of a giveaway, because for this one, all I wanted there was a EPCM. Alright, so it gives you that for and on behalf of, and then of course if you spoke about the relationship between the contractor and the employer, the relationship between the EPCM and the employer, and also the relationship between the EPCM contractor and the contractor that's going to do the work, and the types of contracts that we have in there, the types of problems that we can run into, and the types of variations that we can see. Alright, so easy stuff again. Question number 4, this one dealt with a gas to liquid plant in Nigeria. Alright, so many of you guys suggested that we used a public-private partnership, alright, where we go into business with the government. Now I lived in Nigeria for a number of years, and I'm not so sure that's a good idea. So think about that strategy again. It is quite possible you can execute that, but you'll need to manage the risk tremendously well in such an environment. It's not an easy one to go for. Alright, so I would have anything along the line of a firm fixed price with economic adjustments, or maybe even a firm fixed price, or just a normal EPC would definitely work for that one. Alright, and then the last question there, the one about New Well Campman. Yeah, don't ask me how I came up with that question. Must have been a late night or something. It is a trick question. I wanted to see what you guys would do with that. Some of you guys took the bait and came up with really colorful answers, so thanks for that. And some of you guys said, alright, well, in this case I'm going to step back. This isn't really in a situation where I wanted to be in. And depending on how you answered those, 12 marks came your way as well. So 333 or 444 would be allocated to each of those. So what I wanted you to think about is it a valid contract? Is it a valid contract scenario? Do we have undue influence? Any of those items would be in there. The last question, easy stuff again. This one you could have actually done on a single page and then do the report later on. So this is just an excerpt from one or two of your submissions. This is basically what I wanted you to do, is look at the different pre-qualification criteria and then see if they line up. Now I specifically gave you 2 or 3 different case studies, so 2 in Australia, 1 overseas. Again, we're playing in Nigeria, and the reason why we play overseas is to see if these different types of projects actually attract the same type of pre-qualification criteria. Alright, so are there standard things that's always going to be part of a contract? So the scope appreciation, what about the management structure? How about the technical ability of the team? All of those questions are the ones that we are going to ask. So there you can see that's a good example on the screen there. This is just a screen grab that I took from one of you guys. There's another way of looking at it. You can see what this submission did is it looked at all the different criteria and then sorted them in the number of times they occur for the 3 different projects. And yeah, it's a different way of looking at it, and obviously there's some more tables behind this one. And there's the last one that I just took out as an example. You can see there's the reactor and the aircon system that we're installing there, and then of course that island. Interesting approach that we took there. And yeah, so there's the feedback for assessment item number 1. It's been fun reading all of your assessments. So when you open up the assessments, I've made some marks on your assignments, a few notes. If you don't see too many notes, that's good. If you see a few notes, that's maybe, think about the things that I've written there for you. And then the marks are in the Excel spreadsheet and also in Moodle. Alright, great stuff. So I'll see you guys next time.